I have been struggling to get 5-star books recently. It's been a bit of a sad time, but I have the perfect solution. I am going to read from previous 5-star authors until I get a 5-star. I think this is the perfect solution to all of my problems. Let's hope it doesn't cause any more. Because I do have high hopes for all of these books, so they could become extreme disappointments if I don't love them. I'm nervous. It's fine. We don't need to think about if this is a good idea or not. In the month of July, I am co-hosting Tarot Readathon, hosted by Deja from Daijah's Book World and Noelle from Noelle 7 Pages. So I'm going to be using tarot cards to pick which books I read from previous 5-star authors. I have tons on my shelves. There are other ones that exist that I don't own. So I have lots of options to pick from and some really exciting books. So I will be starting off with a Vengeance by Riley Sager. In my July TBR, I picked 3 cards and picked books for them that I would be reading throughout the month. So I figured I would start with this one since I picked it in that video. And then after that, we will be pulling as I go. Each tarot card has a prompt, and that will be what determines what I read. I'm a bit scared, but super excited. Fingers crossed that I find a new all-time favorite. Look, I'm really really bright. I wanted to show you, oh, I just covered him. I wanted to show you little Winston. He's such a cute little tiny kitty. Oh, I love you. He's probably going to bite me. Oh, nope. Okay, just gonna lick my hand. He's so cute. I just got to 11 p.m., which is 125 pages in. I guess this book is kind of long. So in this, we are following our main character, Anna, and she has lured these 6 people onto a train to get revenge on them. They all have been involved in her past in some sort of way that we come to find out. And it's been 12 years. So in 1942, something happened within her family. We do learn about that as it goes, so I'm not going to tell you too many details on it, but they're all involved in different ways. So it's a luxury train from Philadelphia to Chicago. It's an overnight journey for 13 hours. And she wants to confront all of these people. She wants them to admit what they did and finally accept the consequences that she believes should come with that. The problem is, this isn't the synopsis, but it doesn't happen until a third in, but it's like very important to the rest of the story. She wasn't planning on killing everybody. She was planning on setting them up pretty much, and then somebody ends up dying anyway. And it very clearly is a murder. It is poison. And now they need to figure out who did it. I like this 1-by-1 trope, the locked room mystery aspect of it. So I am enjoying this. I don't think that it's been very exciting so far, but I'm not as bored as a lot of... I hate dogs. Not actually, but... sometimes dogs are very frustrating, especially when they're tall enough to reach things. I don't know what I was saying. I'm really annoyed at my dog now. So that's super fun. I like this trope. I don't have any real issues with it. I don't think it's the most exciting, the best thing I've ever read, but it's keeping my attention. I'm assuming more people are going to die, and I want to know who the killer is, I guess, because the way that everything was set up, it's just supposed to be them on this train, and they didn't know who was organizing it and all this stuff. So it's a little odd that somebody has died during this that was not intentional, so we'll see. I am having a decent time. Do I think it's 5 stars? Probably not, but that's okay. I am now 71% into With a Vengeance. I had to go to the library and the post office earlier, so I was listening to the audiobook in the car, and I got a little further in than I probably would have before I checked in, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So now we are in, is it 2 a.m.? Oh, 3 a.m. It is 3 a.m. for these characters. There is 5 hours left, and things are happening. There have been some deaths as expected, and definitely some red herrings going on. We are also learning more about some of these characters' connections to this big thing that happened to Anna's family, and it's interesting watching her kind of grapple with these emotions that she is having being around these people. She also has a like partner in crime for this whole thing who is the brother of someone else that was impacted by everything that these people did. But Anna is definitely the one in charge, and it seems like maybe she is now being framed even though she claims her intent was never to kill everybody. It's interesting to watch her really trying to protect these people that she does not like, that has ruined her life, her family, taken really everything from her. But I don't think the plot is anything special. It is very clearly a Murder on the Orient Express retelling. Maybe not specifically retelling, but it's inspired by that. The thing is, I generally like these tropes, this setting. I was enjoying it a little bit more earlier. I think it's too long. I think that is the main fault of the book so far. And there's not really like anything that can be a surprise, it feels, at this point. We've gotten some reveals on certain characters and I'm like, oh yikes, that was rough. But I'm not fully invested in the plot or the characters, even though it's generally decent. I think this is going to be 3.5 to 4 stars for me, so I am liking it. Also, I have the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, so it has these really cool railroad, yep, there we go, end papers, which is fun, and it has the train logo in it too. Yeah, I think this is a decent time. You know how when people peak in high school? That's kind of how it feels like Riley Sager's books are. I feel like he peaked a couple books ago and is just trying tons of different things now, which like is great to be able to explore different parts of genres and to have a career where you can do that. But the stuff at his like beginning, middle of his career is my favorite. But I haven't hated anything from him either. Even Survive the Night. I liked it. Also, I think it's very interesting for this to be set in the 50s. I mean, it has to be because, like, trains are not as big of a thing by any means now as it used to be. But also, like, this plot would not work if people had cell phones. There's no way. So, not that I'm picking apart books when I read it, but I'm always like, why did they make this choice? Because if people could just like call somebody, what's that gonna do? I'm interested to see how this ends because I feel like he usually has these big twists and reveals. I don't know if I know what I think it is. Did that make any sense? I don't think so. But yeah, this is absolutely not going to be 5 stars, even though I am enjoying it, which is good because I didn't want to end this video in one book. I'm glad I'm reading it though. Really, I think it's a decent time. Okay, I have finished with a vengeance. Here's the situation. Well, first, I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. I think that this is just lacking the suspense that I have felt from his books previously. I think that there's a version of this book that could have been really tense and exciting, and we didn't get that. I don't think it was bad. I think for a locked room mystery, it was decent. It was engaging enough, but it wasn't entertaining. I also think that there could have been more exciting characters. So here's the thing. Our main character is acting like these people have done the worst thing imaginable. And really, they did some bad things. But the way that it's talked about and described, I don't feel that. I don't feel these emotions that our main character is feeling. I am not feeling how her whole world has been shattered and disrupted and taken over by this thing, even though she is saying that those are her emotions. Like, I get it. Logically, I understand that if everybody you loved was gone because of these people, like, you want to get revenge on them. But the way that it was done just wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't what I wanted it to be. And the thing is, I think I feel this way because I know what he's capable of. These people should have felt like the worst people I've ever met in my life. And I understand that there were nuance to a lot of them, but there were definitely some that were more villainous than others, and I just didn't get that. I think that a plot like this that has been redone over and over and over is not enough to carry the story completely, and you need some like really bad or interesting or engaging characters, and I don't think that Riley Sager pulled it off. He doesn't tend to have like huge casts of characters, and this one had less than 10, but it felt, I don't know, the characters needed to carry this particular story, and I don't think they did. So I think it was decent. I think it was a 3.5 star book, but it had potential for me to give this 5 stars, and it just did not happen. But it is what it is. I'm kind of glad that I did not start. Also, I like how I just had this book sitting beside me the whole time and never held it up. This is the book. I finished it. I also think it was too long. I think if this was shorter, it could have been better too. It got a little bit repetitive, which like this plot can do that very easily, but you know. Okay, so I have finished this for the devil card for the readathon. We are going to pick the next prompt and see what we're reading next. I think this readathon is so fun. I like how you can really do it at your own pace. Pull cards as you go or set your TBR at the beginning. I like how there are so many prompts and that there's different ways that you can really participate in it, because I personally am not putting the cards back into the deck that I have already finished. But you can, and I enjoy that. So the prompt we are going with is, oh, is that upside down? The Queen of Wands. And that prompt is to read a book with a strong female protagonist. Okay, looking at my shelves, I feel like I have a decent amount of options, but I have one currently checked out from the library. I have the audiobook. So I think I'm going to read The Last Session by Julia Bartz. We're following a social worker who is working at a psychiatric unit and then ends up following her to a retreat in New Mexico. I am a little bit scared of this one. I loved the writing retreat. I loved it. But this one, I don't think people are liking quite as much, so I'm a little scared. So I am now to part 2 of The Last Session, which is like 90 pages in. I am enjoying it, but I am not obsessed. I think that I was pretty invested in the writing retreat earlier on. This one I am liking. So we are following our main character, Thea. She is working at a psychiatric unit. She's a social worker, and she is like, I know who this is, but she can't put her finger on it. Then this conversation comes up, which leads her to the realization that this was a movie star, somebody that she felt this connection to when she was a kid. They're around the same age, and she just always felt this like draw to this person, to her movies. This person comes into the psychiatric unit and she has no idea what's going on. She is catatonic and she is reacting in very extreme ways to things, and then she kind of comes to and doesn't remember how she got into this position. It's a very odd situation because there are just these little tiny weird circumstances surrounding it that it's like not odd specifically, but in this circumstance it feels like something is just slightly off, which I do enjoy. And our main character becomes a little bit obsessed with figuring out what happened to her, because then the patient kind of disappears and she's like, you know what, she has left me clues, we have this connection, we had this moment, and she is telling me where she has gone. So she believes that and decides that she's going to figure out what happened to her. She's calling the cops and they're like, leave it alone. This is like, she's over 18. She's done this before. It was her choice. We're good. And she's like, nah, I don't believe it. So she's a bit delusional. She also has a very interesting past that we are learning about. It's not good. It's not good, but it influences things that happen to her now. So then she's being her own little detective, following these clues, and she is about to go to this monthly retreat to uncover attendees' romantic and sexual desires. It is a remote center in southwestern New Mexico. A charismatic couple called Moon and Sun are the ones that run it, and she thinks that this patient is going to be there. Our main character is delusional. She is impacted by her past, and it is driving her to do things that feel kind of random and unrealistic for a person, but also, you know, when you get like something in your head and you just have to do it. I don't get it to the point of like stalking people and using all of my savings to go to a retreat, but like sometimes I desperately need sushi and I can't stop thinking about it until I get it. It's the same thing. So where I am right now, the retreat is about to start. She's talking about going. Clearly she's going to go to it. It's gonna be a weird place. Apparently she's gonna have to participate in increasingly intimate exercises, and she is starting to learn more about her missing patient and her past. She might lose her sanity or her life. The drama. I've been reading the last session. Wait, this hair belongs on this side. Anyway, I accidentally took a little bit of a nap when I was listening to the audiobook. I was just laying there. The next thing I know, I'm waking up. And yeah, that was not ideal. Also, I just ate sushi and it was delicious, but I'm very, very full. So my plan for the night is to kind of just exist and finish this book. I just got to part 3, so I'm roughly 200 pages in. I'm still liking this. I am enjoying it. I think that it's a little bit too long, in my opinion. The thing is, I tend to like really fast-paced, quick, always kind of moving thrillers. So I do tend to think that books are too long, especially if the audiobook is 13 hours. That is a little ridiculous, because I think that there could be things that are cut out and we would still have the same story up until this point. Obviously there are things that are setting up the end, but whatever. Also, if you've ever heard me complain about my neighbor that's always mowing, I can see him mowing right now. Adam complained about how much he was mowing today. He's like, that's ridiculous, I can't believe it. I'm like, thank you. It's not just me. Because normally he's mowing during like times I'm trying to film and it bothers me. But like his hobby is mowing the yard. Anyway, very, very distracted. I am enjoying this retreat thing. I do wish that things are feeling a little more ominous. I also think it's interesting that Julia Bartz decided to do something that feels very similar in setup to her last book. Like, why are they both retreats? It's kind of like that one author that writes a bunch of plain thrillers. Like, pick something else maybe. Even though I am having a good time with this, I think that there's been some interesting characters. Oh, hi, Winston. Are you coming today with me? I got really distracted by my cat and I don't know exactly what I was saying. I wish that there was like a little bit more, and not specifically more, but just like a little different than her last book, because I feel like there's a little too much of that in this one, even though it's a different kind of retreat. Very much like similar vibes within that. I'm curious about a lot of things. There was a weird thing introduced in the last little part, and there's also this like dream thing that is going on. I met Julia Bartz at an event when the writing retreat came out, so I guess it was 2 years ago, and she was talking about her original idea and the original ending for the writing retreat, and I'm almost like, is she using some of that in this? Because I feel like I can see it, you know? This felt so rambly. And did I say anything about the book? With the plot, they are just doing these like weird sessions. It's very interesting because they're almost doing role play, and people that have gone to this retreat, he's leaf blowing his mower and putting plastic wrap on it. The dedication. Anyway, oh, I'm so distracted tonight. It's interesting how into these role plays these people are that didn't sign up for things like this. Like, you would not catch, well, first of all, I'm not going to pay $4,000 for a 2-day retreat in a tent. They didn't know they were going to be intense. But anyway, I would not just like step in and role play people's like trauma and just jump into character, and somehow all of them know what's going on. The people that own this retreat are creepy. They know things they shouldn't know. There's something sinister with them, and we're learning a little bit more about that as well. So it's fun. Do I think this is going to be 5 stars? I'm not feeling that at this moment, which is sad, but I kind of expected it because I don't think I've seen anybody that gave the writing retreat 5 stars also give this one 5 stars, which is a little bit of a bummer, but I'm still enjoying it. And also, like, this is proof as of this point that low ratings on Goodreads, like the average rating, doesn't mean that I won't like a book. I already knew that, but this has a pretty bad rating. I have finished the last session. I don't know what my rating is going to be yet. No, I don't eat Winston's food. So I am going to think about it. I literally just finished and I wanted to pick my next book so I could go lay in bed. Also, you know how I said I got sushi for dinner? I didn't even realize that I had used sushi as like an example of something in the clip before that. So I thought that was funny. Not 5 stars, but I did enjoy it. I want Julia Bartz to write horror. I think she has a lot of very unique ideas that could benefit from the possibility of reality not being what it is in the real world. I think that this one just didn't go where I wanted it to go. When the thing that is happening is introduced, I was like, oh, actually this is gonna be 5 stars. I was convinced. There were a couple chapters and I was like, this is it. This is what I want. And then I feel like things didn't get as strange. Like, it's a weird book. It is strange. Like, it is that. And I liked the explorations of cults. I really like cult books. I liked the discussions on religious trauma. I like that Julia Bartz is writing very unique thrillers. I just wish that the way this was wrapped up was a little bit different. I liked it more than With a Vengeance. I thought this one was more exciting, even though I do think that there was a little bit in the middle where it was dragging for me. Because the first part is set at her job, the psychiatric unit, and things were kind of happening then. And then when we got to the beginning of this retreat, I was like, okay, we can like move it on a little bit. It definitely does pick up. There's some weird things. I don't know if I fully understand what just happened, which is fine. I personally don't need to. But yeah, I'm between 3.75 and 4 stars. I did like it more than With a Vengeance, but that was a 3.5 star book for me. This is one where, this is going to be the theme of this video, there was so much potential and I just wish it was a little bit different, but I did actually overall like it, even though the average rating on Goodreads currently is 2.98. That's horrific. All I have to say is, no, I'm not going to say that. I like a lot of weird stuff that a lot of people don't. Honestly, I'm curious if this would have had a higher rating for the people that like the weird stuff but want it to be weird, which it would have been 5 stars for me if it would have completely went in that direction. I don't know. I feel like this was a good mix of things. I do still think it was a little too similar to the writing retreat in a lot of ways, but also not. I don't know how to explain that. I will continue to read from Julia Bartz. I think she's doing unique stuff that I personally appreciate. Another book that is not 5 stars. Sad, but that's okay. We are going to pick our next book. So I'm just gonna pick the next card since I shuffled them the last time. So the card we have is upside down, is Temperance, Harmony, Moderation, Patience, Being Sensible, Purpose, Finding Meaning. Is this gonna be like an uplifting book? Okay, let me see what the prompt is. Read a book with an even number of pages. Okay, I like that. Let's see what I have on my shelves. Okay, I'm kind of feeling like a shorter book because it's pretty late at night and I am driving to a family dinner tomorrow. So I'm hoping I can get another book in, so then if I have to start another book, then I can start a new book on the drive. So I have 2 books on my TBR by previous 5-star authors. Off the Deep End by Lucinda Berry and At Dark I Become Loathsome by Eric LaRocca. I'm just gonna go off the editions that I have. So Off the Deep End, don't spoil yourself. I'm scared. Okay, that's the acknowledgements page. 258. So this one will work. Honestly, I'm kind of hoping that this one is an odd number of pages so that I don't have to pick. Oh, this is a very big font. Oh, okay. 227. Perfect. So I will be reading Off the Deep End. I don't think you can see her. I'm joined by Nova. She's this little... I want to pick her up and disturb her because she's so cute and I just want to squish her. But I won't. I'll talk to you about Off the Deep End. I am 80 pages in and this is an interesting one. So I have given Lucinda Berry 5 stars multiple times. I've also given her 3 stars, 4.5 stars. My favorite is Appetite for Innocence. I also love One of Our Own. I can never remember what that's called. I gave The Perfect Child 4.5 stars. And then the other one that I read was Keep Your Friends Close or something like that. I still enjoyed it. So in this one, we are following 2 characters. We are following Jules. Well, we're not really following her. We're getting her cases, I guess. And then we are also following Amber. So the prologue is following Jules, and she is in the midst of a very horrific circumstance. Her car has gone over the edge and is drowning. The car is going down and she escapes and pulls up a kid with her. There are 2 kids in the car. One's her teenage son and the other one is her neighbor's kid that is the same age. She gets to the surface of the water and she realizes that she has rescued her son's friend and not her son. So she goes back under, almost drowns herself, but the kid she initially saved goes back in and saves her and her son ends up dying. That is in the prologue. It's just a couple pages and then immediately we are going to these cases. So it is not from the perspective of this doctor because it's all in third person. Like, we're not specifically getting the patient notes, but it looks like this. We are getting their conversations, learning about everything that happened. She blames herself and it's unclear if she actually did something that caused this crash to happen or if something else is going on. The thing is, there is also this investigation because these boys have gone missing in her town and now one of them happens to be the kid that she rescued. And she had a very big breakdown involving the kid Isaac before he went missing, about a week before. His family put a restraining order on her, but these boys have been going missing when they're walking dogs. It's like the dog walker killer or something. And Isaac happens to go missing when he is walking his dog. Then we are also following his mom, and she believes that Jules is the one that took Isaac. We're learning about situations leading up to this where Jules has gone to their house and tried to contact Isaac, and Amber is like, you can't be doing this. Because of her own grief, she very much believes that Jules did it and had like some sort of breakdown because of losing her own son and is the one that took hers. Jules has been saying that they had this like weird bond, this weird relationship after the trauma that they went through. And Jules is recounting everything, how her and Isaac grew to become closer after all of this. And all of this is happening 10 months after her son died in this very tragic accident. Jules very clearly has secrets, but she is saying that she has nothing to do with this disappearance. And it seems like Isaac's disappearance is part of this like greater serial killer that has been taking children, specifically I think teenage boys in the Midwest. Oh, there's Nova. Hello, baby. Yes, cuddle with the ghost. So I am enjoying it. I just truly love the super psychological aspects of Lucinda Berry's books. I think that the grief that these characters are all going through, it's just like a very interesting exploration of that. I am hoping that it's not a like grief-stricken woman that steals a kid because she lost her own. That's not usually my favorite way of portraying people that have lost children, but also the mind can do very interesting things. A lot of the stuff that she went through specifically, her brain has blocked out, so there is a chance that she doesn't remember doing something. There's all of that. I love how Lucinda Berry discusses these responses to trauma. I think it's always done in a very respectful way. She is a former child psychiatrist, psychologist. I truly can never remember what the difference is. Former psychologist and leading researcher in childhood trauma. I really love psychological exploration like this. So I'm having a good time. It's always hard to say I'm having a good time with her books, but I find them so interesting, very intriguing, and I find her storytelling very compelling. I'm happy with how this is going. It's a really good read for me at this point. Very curious to find out what's going on. The drama that is happening in this book. Okay, so I went to my family dinner and I drove there and I was listening to music to start because there was traffic and everything, and I didn't want to not pay attention to that, and I also didn't want to not pay attention to my book. Oh, hi Winston. I have Winston joining me. So I got to pretty far in and I was like, I need to check in with everybody before the end. I need to talk to you. I need to give you my thoughts. So I paused it and then I just listened to music in the car on the way home. Why is Lucinda Berry so good? I'm just sitting over here like plotting. I'm like, okay, this means this, and this is what's going on. And then I'm like, wait, no, but it could be this, and it could be this. All of them are disturbing options. I am just like, there's some drama in this book. There are secrets that people are keeping, and I'm having a really good time with the book. We are still just like yapping about this disappearance and how Jules is struggling with the loss of her kid. There's disturbing relationships going on in here. People, the brain is weird, you know? I feel like it's very interesting for somebody to be a very perfectly functioning human and then to go through something so traumatic and then to really change because of it in a way that is kind of unhinged and not good. I just can't imagine saying some of the things that this main character is saying, and when her therapist is like, you know, that's this thing, she's like, no, it's absolutely not, and like goes off about it's a very interesting character because she's aware of a lot of these things. She's trained in therapy. That's probably not the way that's supposed to be said, but she is an expert in her field. She knows what she's talking about. And then to be psychologized, that's probably not the term, and see her be like, yeah, but it's not this because this, and this is what's really going on. But like, can we believe her? So I don't know. I'm very into it. I'm really into it. And then there's like some little juicy little drama things going on between some other people that is messed up but not disturbing to the point that Jules and her storyline has become. So I'm really excited to finish this up, see how it ends. But I'm having really good feelings about this. I love Lucinda Berry. I should have known this one was going to go well. But this also doesn't have really great reviews. Those people, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I disagree. This was very close to being 5 stars. I just feel like there were some things towards the end that I'm like, Actually, I felt like that about a lot of the book, but like, it felt very intriguing, and it was just like such an interesting psychological exploration of things. The thing at the end, I'm like, okay, we didn't need to do that. This is dark. It's very disturbing. There's weird relationships, a lot of feelings of grief in many different ways. Guilt, the lengths the parents go to protect their children, which I feel like is a theme in a lot of her books, which makes sense. She is a parent and also dealt with children-related things in her job. So I can't say I would recommend it to the general public because it's disturbing, but if you liked Saving Noah, I think this is a good comp for that. They felt very similar in a lot of ways. So yeah, there's that, but not quite 5 stars. I wanted to give it 5 stars in theory for this video, but I truly felt almost exactly the same way about this as I did with Saving Noah, except there was like one thing that I'm like, I wish that wasn't in there. So here we are. Have to pick another book. I'm really glad I read this. I mean, I was going to read it this month anyway because of my Patreon read-along for it. I really like Lucinda Berry. I think her writing is very compelling. I think her storytelling is very engaging. I love the psychological exploration of a lot of the things she deals with. And I am not someone that's a parent. I'm not somebody that has like spent my whole life feeling like I need to be a parent. So I don't have those like reactions to things that she's discussing in that aspect, but just like thinking about it and the way the mind works, the way the mind deals with things, so intriguing to me. So I did really enjoy this. I'm glad that I read it, but like it's not a light, easy, fun read, you know? Don't expect that from this author. So very, very close, but we need to pick another card. I get to log this one for Off the Deep End, and we are going to see what our next read is. I'm going to pull up the spreadsheet that has all the prompts on it. Okay, what do I want? I have one more book on my July TBR that would work for this video. Wild Side. Yes, by Elsie Silver. The thing is, I'm not positive if that one's gonna be 5 stars. Wild Love was. Oh, I'm dropping things. But Wild Eyes? Nope. Yeah. I can never remember the titles. That one was not. It was 4 stars. So I think it'll be something that I like, but will it be 5 stars? That's the thing. I feel like at this point in the video, I need to start really trying. With A Vengeance, I did not think was going to be 5 stars, but what was that book called? The Last Session? I thought there was a chance. I thought Off the Deep End could be 5 stars. I can't read 20 books in this video, so we gotta get something good. So we are going to stop here, and the card I will be reading a book for is Seven of Wands. What is that? Okay, read a book that features a character who is facing a daunting challenge or adversity. That's easy. Lots of challenges, lots of adversities. That's a lot of what I read. So, Wild Side won't be fitting for that. I'm gonna look at my shelves to read some synopses and let you know what I'm gonna read in a sec. Okay, so I picked a stack from my shelves of previous 5-star authors: At Dark I Become Loathsome by Eric LaRocca, a John Mars, Grady Hendrix, Jillian McAllister, and Jen Williams. I didn't know what to read, so I posted a picture of this stack in my Discord, and I was like, please help, what should I read? And there were 2 responses, and that's all I wanted to wait for. So the 2 that were chosen were You Killed Me First by John Mars and Famous Last Words by Jillian McAllister. It's kind of funny because these are actually the 2 most risky picks. John Mars has written one of my all-time favorite books, and I really enjoy all of his stuff, except I tried to read one of his books like a week ago and DNF'd it. Jillian McAllister, I've given 5 stars. I loved Wrong Place, Wrong Time. That's what it's called. But I've DNF'd other books from her. The Passengers and The One were both 5 stars for me, but also I've enjoyed all the books in his sci-fi series, and The Stranger Upstairs, his psychological thriller. The other ones in the stack I have only given 3 to 5 stars. So I'm gonna read whichever of the 2 has a shorter audiobook, if we're being honest, because I don't know how long this is gonna take me. So for Famous Last Words, the audiobook is 13 hours and 4 minutes, which feels very deceptive for this. And then the audiobook for You Killed Me First is 9 hours and 44 minutes. So I guess I'll be reading this one. Also, I really wanted to just cheat and be like, I'm gonna read another Lucinda Berry, which I'm not going to yet, but maybe later if I'm desperate. Well, at this point, I can almost guarantee this one is not going to be 5 stars, but that's okay. I'm not starting to lose all hope for this video. Okay. So the prologue of this is so intriguing, and the premise of this kind of is based on that, but then it's not a focus for a lot of the book. So we start off following this woman who wakes up, she's bound and gagged and in a bonfire. That's intense. That is stressful. Like, first of all, how did somebody get here? Two, is she going to survive? Like, what is going on? Then we go back 11 months. So that is happening in November, and we go back to December of the previous year. And we are following mostly 3 women, but also some other things are going on. So there's Margot, who is a faded TV star. She was part of this really popular group. And then we are following Anna, who kind of just like, her life sucks. She doesn't have a good time. And that's kind of her personality trait. And then Liv, who is just moving into the neighborhood, and she has lots of money, and everybody kind of wants to be her friend. And then they all like form this kind of friendship, but we're getting all of their perspectives, and they clearly don't like each other a lot of the times. They're doing things to purposefully make each other's lives difficult, even when there's no need to do that, just to see their reaction, which is kind of funny. Obviously, like, in real life, not great. This is not a good friendship, but for the purpose of a thriller, I'm like, you could have done this, but you didn't, just to get a reaction. And that's like a crazy thing to do because of the consequences of everything. So yeah, there's that. So we don't know who is in this fire. We don't know really anything about like this fire and the lead up to it. I'm a little confused. Oh, maybe I should have waited to talk to you, because where I am right now, we just got to May. So now we're 6 months before. So there's also these weird things going on, and I don't understand what is happening with that. So it's mostly following Liv, Margot, and Anna, the 3 friends, not friends, whatever the situation is with that. But then we're also getting these chapters in italics, and it seems to be from the perspective of people who are ghosts. And I just actually don't know what that's supposed to mean, because they've all been different as well. And we're getting one at the end of each, not real part, but like each month that switches. And I don't understand. I'm assuming it has something to do with the bonfire night. Like, is this a sacrifice and part of whatever these random ghosts are part of? Like, I don't get it. I think that there's too much going on in this book, and while I do think it's funny to watch these friends be awful to each other, oh, that makes me sound so unhinged, I don't think that anything that they're doing is that interesting outside of those little parts. So at this point, I feel like the highest it's gonna get is 4 stars, which then in my brain is like, should I quit and read something else? Because do I want to read 10 books in this video? No, but I might have to. I just think that the setup of this could have been done a little bit different, or if instead of these like random perspectives we're getting like a lead up of the day, like we're leading up months in advance, but also getting little glimpses of that day itself maybe. But also maybe that's what we're getting and I just don't know. I really don't want to, but I need to clean the kitchen today. That is my priority. So I'm gonna listen to the audiobook of this while I do that. Ugh, that feels like so much work, but it's fine, I'll survive. I've been doing my cleaning. I'm on Patreon sprints, and I have gotten to 250-ish pages in, what is this called? I'm struggling. You Killed Me First by John Mars. I think this book is decent. I think there's a little bit too much going on. We have figured out what those perspectives, I wasn't sure what was going on with, like what's going on with that. That was the weirdest way I could have said that. And I think it's very interesting. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about it, because I think that it would have been more interesting if we knew that was going on the whole time. It didn't really feel like some sort of reveal or twist or anything. I was just finally figuring out what was going on, and I don't know, the way that was done wasn't my favorite, but I think it's a very interesting concept. I truly think the problem is that I just don't care about a lot of what these characters are dealing with in their lives. It's domestic drama. It's catty friendships, which like is entertaining to a point. Truly, there have been some very funny things where I'm like, that's what you're doing with your time. But overall, I feel like it's just not very exciting. And then there's moments where I'm like, oh, this has so much potential for me. But yeah, I don't know. It's not a favorite. I do think that I like his sci-fi thrillers more, even though I do think that a lot of times he could like scale back. I think his books would do better in general if they had less perspectives. And like it happened in The Passengers too, which is one of my all-time favorite books. But I think in that case it made sense because of the setup of everything. I don't think that all of his books need this many characters. We could get some of the information that we are getting with less going on. And really it's just these 3 characters. But then with the other stuff, it's just been a little too much. Where I ended, I was not expecting that. I didn't expect that to be what we're doing. I think part of my problem too is that I feel like there's too much going on outside of the synopsis. Why is somebody burning? Why is somebody in a bonfire? And I get that we have to like learn about everything that happened leading up to it, but it just feels so random neighborhood drama that I feel like, okay, maybe in like rich people neighborhoods, they do have things going on like this, but it just feels a little unrealistic, which is the case with like neighborhood dramas anyway. I just think I wanted something else from this. That being said, I am liking it more now than I was at the beginning. At the beginning, I was like, I don't really care about anything. And now I care about some things. But really the driving force of this book, the only reason I'm continuing, well, there are 2 reasons. 1 is because it's John Mars. 2, because of the prologue, which isn't my favorite kind of book. I want to be invested in the whole thing, or at least like somewhat curious about generally everything that's happening, and I don't feel that way about this book. It still could get 3 to 4 stars. I think 4 is a little ambitious, but I think 3 or 3.5 stars, because there are some things that are being introduced that I'm very intrigued by, but overall I think this is just okay. Hello, I am here with my cuddling cat. He's so cute. He's gonna leave because he doesn't like when I talk. He stopped purring. I finished He Killed Me First. I'm gonna give this one 3 stars. I feel like it had a lot of potential. There was an element of this that I think could have been so interesting if it was the main part of the story, but that's not what happened. So it kind of felt a little random, and there wasn't like, I don't know, there wasn't too much to it. It felt like there was no explanation or exploration of it. And I think that if there were one of those 2 things, I would have been happy. I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But a lot of this is just these neighbors out to get each other and watching that happen. There are some very entertaining moments of that, but overall it was just a little boring. I think I'm going to be a little more picky about the John Mars psychological thrillers that I pick up. I'll read any of his sci-fi thrillers. I like the one that was family focused, and I didn't love this one. So maybe I need to, I don't know, just be a little more careful about that. So I'm going to pick my next book because this was not 5 stars. Since I'm holding Winston, I'm just going to take the card on top. Okay. Well, I already grabbed it. So I will be reading a book for, what is that? 4 of Cups? Yeah, 4 of Cups. Celebration, Joy, Harmony, Marriage. Okay, so what is the prompt for this one? 4 of Wands. Did I say Cups earlier? I don't know. 4. You can read it. Read a book that features a celebratory event such as a wedding, party, or festival. Oh my god. I have the perfect book. I don't own it, but I will be reading The Venue by TJ Payne. And I've been talking on my Patreon about what I'm going to read next because, like, I am at the point where I really need to be picking things that I think are going to be 5 stars. Because I don't want this video to go on, like, forever. This was not the one that people were most interested in seeing me read, but it was the one people were second most interested in seeing me read. So that's good enough. Oh, I'm excited. Intercepts. Oh my god, one of my favorite books of last year. I truly loved it. It was so tense and suspenseful and fast-paced and a little crazy at the end. And I've heard that's what this one is too. So like, could this be it? Fingers crossed. I have started, I don't know why I'm showing you on my Kindle because you can't see it. I've started the venue. I am roughly a third in. I just got to a really good stopping point, so I wanted to tell you about what's going on. So, first of all, I'm obsessed with Intercepts. If you have not read that book, it is a very tense, fast-paced, creepy, stressful sci-fi thriller. Incredible, incredible. I love it. So I am 100 pages into this one, and we are following this character. Okay, backing it up. The prologue is this couple going to this resort venue thing. It's literally called The Venue, and they are booking their wedding package, and some things are disclosed, and I was like, so they have booked with this venue that is so discreet, people cannot have their phones, they can't take pictures. Like, the wedding photos that the couple gets are fake, because what really happens at the wedding is not allowed to get out to the public because it's illegal. So after the prologue, we are following this character named Amy, and in the prologue we see that, is his name Caleb? He is going to invite Amy. He's sending her these emails that's like different drafts of inviting her to the wedding, and some of them are nice, some are very not, and it's a weird situation. So we know that something happened between them in their past, and they're not really friends anymore, but they used to be best friends. So Amy gets the invitation, and it's for her, a +1, and her parents, and she's like, I mean, we used to be best friends, and now we don't talk at all, but like, it's a free, all expenses paid trip to Europe for me, someone else, and my parents, so yeah, absolutely. So she agrees to go, and she gets to the venue, and they're like, phones please, and everyone's like, but of course they do it anyway. And then she starts to see people around that she's like, why would you be here? You made Caleb's life miserable, so why would you be invited to the wedding, especially something where people are paying thousands and thousands of dollars. They had a private jet. The rooms are comped, all food, like all of this stuff. They don't have to pay for anything. So why would this couple be paying for people that they clearly don't like? That's suspicious. And on the plane, they were flying with some of the bride. Her name is Lilith, which suspicious. Everything suspicious apparently. But she hears them over talking. What? No, I can't speak. My brain is going too fast. She overhears them talking about how they took her on as a pity case and they don't really like her and they're just so excited to get this free trip and that's the only reason they care about going. So she's like, I don't know what's going on, but they go to the wedding, things are odd, and then things are more weird, and then they realize what is going on. I can't really tell you much more because what's actually happening is not in the synopsis, but this is a revenge book. It is gonna be gory. It is going to be pretty fast-paced, I think, from what I've heard, and I'm very intrigued. I think the setup is interesting. I am a little concerned that the rest is not going to be interesting because it's just going to be action, which I do like, but I want there to be something behind it other than just the violence itself. So far, I'm having a really good time. I do think there's a chance this could be 5 stars, especially with some of the things mentioned in the prologue, the technology that these rich people have access to. I want to know more about that. Fingers crossed, because I think this could very easily go into 5-star range, but I think it could end up being 3 stars as well. Yeah, we're leaning towards the 3-star territory on this one. Oh my god. I'm upset. I feel like every single one of these videos that I've seen is just people spiraling. You can see my blowtorch. Don't look at that. I am just sad I'm sad that I'm not loving this book. I thought I was going to be obsessed with it, but at this point it's just violence for the sake of there being violence, and it's not really anything interesting. The motivations behind choosing to orchestrate everything that is going on in this book just isn't very exciting to me. And because of that, and the fact that none of the kills themselves are very exciting, is just like, I'm a little bit bored. I don't like action movies. I don't like mostly action books. In my slashers, I like there to be things surrounding it. Not that I would say this is a slasher. Kinda, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not obsessed with it. It's still decent. Like, it's fine. It reminds me of a mix of The Paradise Club by Tim Meyer and I don't know what the other one is. So I'm a little sad. I thought this was going to end the video, and now I'm almost positive it is not going to. So that's my quick, roughly 2/3 update. I don't even think I told you what page I was on. I've made it to page 198, so I'm 22 chapters in. I'm sad. Really sad, actually. I thought this was going to be everything I wanted, and at the beginning I really was like, it really could be. The prologue, incredible. I was so intrigued, and now I'm not. Oh, this video might have been a bad decision. I'm not okay. Okay, 5 books in, 5 stars. It's going great over here. I am giving this one 3.5 stars, in that range. I think that this is a mix of Guillotine by Delilah S. Dawson and Squid Game, but not nearly as good as either. So there's that. I'm sad. It was just like too much action without anything else. And like, it said a little bit of stuff, but I don't know. I just wasn't invested in anything. I think the thing is with both Guillotine and Squid Game, like, Squid Game had characters that I was invested in, and that kept me going during the slower moments. And then in Guillotine, I think the writing was really good, and I think that the plot itself had a lot of very interesting things going on, and then also entertaining. I'm sad. I'm really sad. I wish I had something else to say about this book. It just did not meet my expectations, but I think it was a decent book. I would just recommend his other book over this one. I need to pick another book. So far I have 5. I wish that the 5th one was it, but maybe the next one will work out. The deck is getting so small when you take out the ones that I've read for this video, and the rest of the month, like, I've read a lot. I am very curious what I'm going to be reading. So the prompt I will be reading for is, oh, it's upside down again. 10 of Wands. We've had a lot of wands in this, right? 4 of Wands, 7 of Wands, Queen of Wands. Interesting. Okay, so what is the prompt for this one? Read a book about a character who's carrying a heavy burden or going through a lot. Listen, this might be cheating, but I don't think I can go on much longer with this video, or I might lose my mind. But I'm going to read an author I've already read from in this video. I am going to read Phantom Limb by Lucinda Berry. I was so close to giving Off the Deep End 5 stars, and I feel like if I read another one of her books, I have a good chance of really, really loving it. So we are going to go with Phantom Limb. I love cats. What are you doing up there, Winston? Hi, baby Winston. You're so cute up there. This is not a good angle, but I wanted you to be able to see Winston. The worst part is when he decides he's going to chase his tail up there, and there's a gap in this corner, and I just get so stressed. I kind of look like one of those, you know? Okay, let me fix you. I am wearing the most basic men's t-shirt because I went to the gym this morning. So, sorry. I have started Phantom Limb. Is it cheating to be reading this? I don't care. In this, oh god, it's worse than I thought it was going to be. And by worse, I mean the things that these characters have gone through. And here's the situation. Is this inspired, not this specifically, but like a lot of the things that Lucinda Berry is writing about, are they inspired by things she has seen in her job as a therapist. Maybe not like her specific patients, but like heard things about, or it inspired this other situation, and like that makes me really sad. You are crooked. So in this, we are following these two twins, Emily and Elizabeth. Is Emily Elizabeth the girl from Clifford? Anyway, my brain is just like all over the place. I was just sitting here watching a video today and I was like, vocal cords are weird. The fact that there's this thing in your throat that just like exhale off faster than and that everybody has such distinct voice. Like, yeah, within family members and stuff, people can sound similar, but like the fact that there's a slight change in so many vocal cords that make people have different sounds. Because, like, yes, you can change the sounds, but, like, your voice sounds like what it sounds like, you know? So that's my thought for the day. I just think it's a very interesting concept. Okay, we're supposed to be talking about books. So these kids, they had a very, 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 very rough life. Growing up, their mother was extremely abusive. They were locked in a bedroom and they were not allowed out. They had to go to the bathroom in buckets. Well, first of all, they were given diapers, like way past when they should have been, and they started getting sick from it, pretty much. They did not have access to a bathroom. They developed okay because the nutrients in formula were enough for them, but they literally only had formula and pizza that their mom every once in a while would bring home when she would come back from her mysterious disappearances. She would be gone for a while without doing anything for them. Not that she did much for them anyway when they were locked in a bedroom. So we are following Elizabeth, and they are now in their like early 20s. I believe Elizabeth is the character we're following. She is going to college. She has a job. She's met somebody in this relationship, but she's keeping it from Emily because she doesn't want her to feel replaced or abandoned. It's always been them growing up. Like, there's been nobody. And the things that their mom put them through, like, there's some horrific things. And they really trauma bonded over that. Also, this book, there's a lot of talk of self-harm, just so that you're aware, and don't go into that without knowing that, because it's a pretty big discussion. Really, with any Lucinda Berry book, like, if there are things that bother you, you should look it up, because there might be something in any of her books. So I'm 102 pages in. In this first chunk, we are seeing a little bit of their past, learning about that, seeing how they cope, and learning about Elizabeth's relationship that she has been forming with this guy. Is his name Thomas? And they've been together for about a year now, and he really wants to meet her sister and be part of her life. So she starts to take steps to do this. There's a series of events that happen, and then Elizabeth wakes in a hospital, strapped to her bed and unable to move or speak. The last thing she remembers is finding Emily's body in their bathroom. So where I am right now, it has been the beginning of that, all leading up to her being in this hospital and the situation that has occurred to lead her to be there. This is really sad. The stuff that these characters have gone through is just horrific. Like, I feel awful. The fact that one of them was not adjusted at all, never left the house, had a lot of bad coping mechanisms, like, it was awful. And then our main character feeling guilty for not being like that. She still has issues, but she is able to go out into the world and live more of a life. So seeing how both of these characters were impacted by the way they grew up is just very interesting to see, and just like really sad. I don't know where we're gonna go from here. I guess it's going to be some recovery. It looks like she starts to dive into everything that happened with her sister's death, and is bringing up a lot of stuff in her past as well. It says she's trying to unravel the psychological puzzle of her past before it's too late. I just love the psychological aspect of Lucinda Berry's books, and I love her writing. So I'm glad to be reading this. It's tough to read. Her books are just a lot, but I find them very engaging, and this one is no different. This is good. It's good. It's really, really good. There was something that happened, and I was like, wait, what? Like, I was not expecting that at all, and I'm very into this book. Like, very, 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 very into this book. I think this could easily be 5 stars. It's such an interesting exploration of trauma. I cannot believe what these characters have gone through. It's awful. It's terrible. I feel so bad. I just like care so much about what's happening in this book, on top of finding it like psychologically very intriguing. I need to know all the details. I need to know what exactly is going on. I'm enjoying seeing the therapy sessions. I'm enjoying seeing our main character forming these relationships with other people at the facility. But there was this reveal, and I can't tell you that. And since I can't tell you that, I can't tell you a lot more about the book. Like, I desperately want to talk about the specifics because I'm finding it so interesting, but I can't. So this is probably going to be 5 stars. Unless something happens that makes it like weird, I think this is gonna be a winner. I can't wait to finish it. I hopefully will have more that I can say at the end, because right now there's not really much I can talk about, but this is a good one. Also, to be clear, this is not a light, fluffy, fun time book. It's a dark, disturbing, interesting book. So I don't want to give people the wrong impression with me being excited, but I am loving the reading experience. So it's not like I'm like having fun jumping around about how much I love it in that way. Listen, I just ate lunch, and I checked my teeth to make sure I didn't have any sushi bits in there. I missed the piece of sticky rice that was in my hair. So sorry if you noticed that, but it was rice and not some sort of bug or anything. This was devastating. Okay. 5 stars. This book was rough. It was rough. Okay. I was not expecting to cry. I mean, this isn't like full on sobbing, but oh my god. There are so many things that happened in this book that are just actually devastating. Ooh, I was not expecting a lot of this stuff. I do think that this reads just kind of like a psychological, maybe drama. I wouldn't really say it's a thriller. Everything that is happening is just like our main character's thoughts and processing things, finding out information and trying to deal with it. And we are learning things with her because she blocks out a lot of stuff because of the trauma that she has gone through. And oh my god, this was rough. But I think it was incredibly well done. I think that it talked about a lot of important things. It had hopeful moments, but also was just sad. It was sad. And I'm probably not convincing you to read this book. I truly would recommend looking into trigger warnings for this. It's a lot. There's so much self-harm. There's a lot of talk about eating disorders as well, and our main character is in a facility for mental health related reasons, and she's surrounded by people that are as well and have gone through a lot of awful things. I think sexual assault is discussed in here, suicide. It's a lot of very dark topics, and a lot of stuff isn't really like gone into extreme detail, but there's still a lot of it. So if any of those things bother you, I would not read this one. But if you like psychological explorations of things and you're okay with kind of having your heart broken, I would absolutely recommend this. I might buy more Lucinda Berry books tonight. I need more. I'm down to 1 on my shelves. I was for a while feeling guilty about adding this book, but I just really needed a 5 star, and there was something in me that was telling me that Lucinda Berry was going to be the one to get me the 5 star. So sorry I didn't read 20 books and get a 5 star from a different author, and I read the same author twice, but I just really was getting frustrated. I think I would do this like ending when I get a 5 star video again, but maybe not from 5 star authors, because I think I was getting extra frustrated and disappointed because I knew the potential that all of these authors had. And even though I did like everything, when you have something that is like a favorite and obsession, and then you expect that from the next book and it doesn't live up to your expectations, it can feel extra disappointing when that does not happen. I also have 6 cards that I got to log for a tarot readathon during this. All information is linked in the description. We're getting close to the end of the month, but you can still participate if you want and test it out so you can see if you want to fully participate next year as well. I'd love to have you join Team Swords. If you made it to the end and want to leave me an emoji to say you're here, you can leave me a bear for Phantom Limb. I'd love to know your thoughts on any of these books in this video if you've read them, and let me know who your favorite author is. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope to see you very soon. Bye.